Hi everyone, and welcome to Jack and Cat Adventures. Today we're going to be making apple tea ring. It's a sweet bread. It does take a lot of time, so plan your whole day just to do the bread, okay? Because it does a double rise and then you bake. So we're going to get started. You're going to heat up a half a cup of milk to lukewarm, not hot, kind of like the, if you have kids, the baby bottle warm, okay? We're going to put that in a cup. You're going to add 1 packet of yeast. Now if you don't have the packet and you have the yeast that I have here, it's 2 1/4 teaspoons. So let's get that in there. And what we're doing is we're blooming this. That's what it's called. We're going to get the yeast to grow.
Get it all rehydrated.
Yeah. I put my glasses on. I can't see. Okay. Alright. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar to that. Now the sugar is what feeds the yeast to make the yeast grow. Stir that. Now make sure your milk is not too hot or it will kill the yeast. Alright, so I'm going to set that aside right over here. I'm going to let that grow. Now, in a bowl, you're going to need a cup of butter,
Cup of butter, that's 2 sticks.
exactly, in the U.S.
Well, you know, in my kitchen.
Yeah. Okay.
Or your kitchen.
Let me close this up because I will knock it over. Okay, and then you're going to put a cup of sugar in here and we're going to beat this until it's nice and creamy. Alright, once you have your butter and your sugar nice and fluffy, you're going to add 1 egg at a time, 3 eggs, okay? Mix it really well before you put in the next egg. Make sure you're scraping down your sides and the bottom of your bowl. Going to do a really good job scraping down the bottom of this bowl so everything is mixed in really well. Okay. Now I'm going to add my last egg. Alright, I'm going to check my yeast. And it has grown. Jack, can you come in here and show them what it looks like? It's going to be really bubbly. That's what you're looking for. If it's not bubbly, either your yeast is bad or your milk was too hot. Can't use it. So make sure your yeast is in date and your milk is just lukewarm. We're going to add that to this mixture. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. Now if you're using salted butter, cut back on the salt. If you're using unsalted butter, use the 2 teaspoons. Pour that in. And the reason you want this, whoa.
Start it slowly.
Yeah, start it slowly. The reason you want to add the salt afterwards is because salt will kill the yeast if it's not ready to go. Once you have all your eggs and your yeast mixture and your salt in here and it's mixed, you're going to measure out 5 cups of flour. Now, it will definitely take 5 cups. It might take an extra cup or 2. The dough should be when you touch it, should leave your hands fairly clean. It shouldn't like be goopy and stuck to you, but when we get to that, I'll show you what it feels like. So what you're going to do is you're going to take another cup of lukewarm milk, And you're going to take your 5 cups of flour and you're going to alternate them as you put it in. So do a cup of flour, mix it, then do a little bit of milk, mix it, flour mix, milk mix. And you want to end with your flour, okay? So I'm going to get started on this. I'm just going to use this little bowl.
Just getting creative on how to make a mess.
This does make a mess, but it is so worth it, you guys. This bread freezes great. Once you bake it and let it totally cool, wrap it in saran, wrap it in foil, put it in a Ziploc bag, and you can freeze it. Now when you take it out of the freezer, the bottom might be a little goopy from the apples. If you
When it thaws.
When it thaws. If you don't mind that, go ahead and eat it. If you want it a little bit more firm, heat your oven to 350. Take a cookie sheet and a cooling rack, a cookie rack, put it on top, and then put your bread on that. Put it in the oven and just watch it. It won't take too long, probably about 10 minutes maybe, and it'll dry out that bottom, and it's fantastic. So you can do it either way. So now I'm going to add my milk. Actually, I'm going to grab a towel and cover this. This is a trick that I do because I don't, the guard that came with this mixer, which this mixer is 35 years old. The guard got broken to move somewhere.
I found Mom's for her mixer, for her KitchenAid.
Oh, okay. So I just use a towel. It got broken to move. We moved 3 times, so I don't know where it is.
It's a well-traveled mixer.
So now I'm going to add some more flour to this.
Can't say enough about the KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah.
I've only, in 35 years, 36 years, I've only had to do 1 repair.
I love it. I would like a bigger one, but I feel like it's a waste of money because I have 2 of these and I don't need another mixer. But if you're a big baker and you bake for a lot of people, I used to do that. All right? I used to bake for a lot of people during the holidays and do cookie trays and stuff. Bigger mixer would have been nice then, but I got through it.
That's what wore this one out.
Yeah. Jack took it all apart and cleaned it and bought new parts for the inside because it started leaving black into my food, like the oil was coming through, and it had a weird, like, growl to it, for lack of a better word.
It sounded angry.
Yeah, but now it's all fixed. I did buy one of the Drew Barrymore mixers while this was getting fixed, and I do like it. It's just not powerful enough to do a lot of the things that I do, like with breads and things like that. Kind of bogs down. But if you're looking for a cheap mixer that works pretty well and you're just making cookies and cakes and things like that, it's wonderful for that. And they sell it at Walmart, and I think I only paid like $89 for it or something. You just want to take your time doing this.
Really, the most time-consuming part of this is waiting for everything to rise.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, you can make this. You can make it as a nut roll. The dough is very versatile. You could make like kuchens with it. You could put roll out the dough and put jam in between. I've done that,
Poppy
and
seeds.
I did the
add
homemade
that.
strawberry jam, and it was fantastic in it.
Keep the towel out of the dough.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to put this last bit in.
Ending with our flour.
Ending with my flour, and I think I'm going to have to add another cup or 2. It looks very, very wet. It all depends on the temperature in the air, how much humidity is in the air. Depends on how much water's in your butter,
The eggs.
how big your eggs are. Everything with bread is like that.
It looks kind of silky though.
It's very, very nice, but it's just too wet.
I can see that from here.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start adding a cup at a time. Just a little bit of the cup at a time, actually. And this is where, like, if you're not really sure about dough, this might throw you a little bit, but it's really easy. I'll show you exactly how it's supposed to feel.
How it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, I wouldn't recommend tasting it. It tastes kind of doughy.
Yeah. Like today it's raining, so there's a lot of moisture in our air. All that has to do with bread. Bread's very, very finicky, so.
Kind of like me.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to have to add a little bit more. So I'm going to do another cup and we'll see. It should start to pull away from the sides of your bowl. And like I said, when you touch it, it shouldn't be sticking to your hands. Now you can hear
It's sounding better.
You can hear it starting to beat and starting to get a little bit thicker. Still too wet. See, it's really stuck to my finger. I have sometimes gone up to, I think, 8 or 9 cups. So don't be afraid, yeah, total. So don't be afraid to add it if it ain't ready. Alright, I'm going to scrape down my sides. See, it's just so sticky right now, guys.
But it is coming together.
It's coming together beautifully.
You can see how it came off the beater in a sheet.
You just have to take your time. You cannot rush this. Okay, I'm just going to scrape this. It makes it easier to get it out. See, it's still really sticking to my spatula. I'll show you here in a sec. See, like that. So we're going to put a little bit more. It's really coming together now. It's not as sticky. And I know, like, if some of you aren't really bread makers and you're a little intimidated, just try it. I used to not be able to make a pie or bread. Would never come out for me. But with just practice and keep on doing it, you'll find that it's very relaxing, for one thing, working with the dough.
I'm the one that is more of the breads and the dough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is number 7. Lock it down. Okay, let me see. That's perfect. So I did 6.5. See, it comes off. There's barely anything on my fingers. I might add just literally maybe 2 tablespoons worth, just to make sure, and then we're done. You can hear it hitting the sides of the bowl. That means, see, it's perfect. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this out.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it's very heavy. Now, I can't tell you exactly how many you'll get out of this because it depends on how big you make them. So I'm going to plan on making mine a little bit smaller so that way I could just give a whole loaf to people. You know, I'm going to add a little bit more because underneath the bottom of that doesn't feel right. And that's what I mean. You just have to work with it, guys. It just takes a little bit of practice, but you can do it, I promise. And if you are ready to start doing this, like the night before, whatever, and if you have a question, go ahead and let us know your question. Now we got it. See it coming together? All right, and if you have a question, just let us know and we'll try and answer it for you if we see it quick enough. Okay?
Message us, email us.
Right.
You know, either on Facebook or on YouTube.
And our website.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take a bowl, you're going to put some oil in it. You're going to take a paper towel and wipe that around. You want enough oil in there to flip the dough, to get oil on both sides of the dough, okay? So, like I said, it does not take long to bring this together. It's the rising that takes a while. And the apples I am using are Honeycrisp. I find that it has the right amount of sweetness and tartness. I used to use Granny Smith. If you want to use Granny Smith, go ahead. I would use more of a tart because the bread is sweet. Alright, so let me get this all together. And once you start handling this dough, you'll see how nice it is. Okay. Okay. I have a lot more in my bowl. And if you want to double this recipe, you have to do 2 separate batches. Do not double it. It doesn't work real well when you double it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of put it into a ball. Whatever. We're going to put it in, we're going to roll it around, and then we're going to make sure it's oiled well. I'm going to put a little bit more on top. I'm just going to put it on my hand. And that's perfect. Now, you're going to cover this with a damp cotton cloth, and you're going to put it in a warm spot, and you're going to let this rise until it's double in size. Now that our first rise is done, it doubled in size, as you can see. You're going to take it out of your bowl. It feels marvelous. We're going to put a little bit of flour down. And we're going to knead this until it's kind of smooth.
And at this point, it shouldn't take much kneading.
No, it's very, very nice dough. As you can see, it's not even sticking to my hands or anything. And you just kind of take your dough in your hands and push. That's kneading. And pull back. Push, pull back, flip, flip, push, and pull back. And go with as little flour as possible, just so it doesn't stick to your board.
Yeah, you get too much flour in there, your bread will get tough.
Yeah. Alright, now that it's nice and smooth, knead it for about 2 or 3 minutes. And now that it's nice and smooth, I'm going to put it back in my bowl. I'm going to cover it with the wet, damp cloth, and we're going to let it rise again and double. Alright, once your second rise is done, now you're going to start making the bread. Lightly flour your surface. I'm actually going to make my loaves kind of small, so I can just give one loaf to each person instead of cutting them in half and all that stuff. So I'm just going to do it this way. Now if you want bigger loaves, go ahead and do it that way. It really doesn't matter. Okay. So what you're going to need to do is preheat your oven to 350. You're going to need to peel and core some apples. You're going to need white sugar, brown sugar, and cinnamon. Now there's no measurement for it. I would do 1 to 1 on the sugars and then add as much cinnamon as you want to taste, okay? So I'm going to get started and roll this out. should be pretty easy to roll. This dough feels amazing. Let's just move some of this stuff out of the way. Just try and make it as round as you can, because you're going to roll it like a jelly roll. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, now what you're going to do is you're going to melt some butter, and you're just going to butter your dough. You can add, when you put your apples in, if you like seed, if you like raisins or chopped up nuts, you can add it at that time with your apples. I don't like any of that. I like just plain apple in mine. So then you're going to kind of put it to about maybe 2 inches away from the edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and now I'm just going to sprinkle on the sugar. As much or as little as you want. I find sometimes if you add too much, it's a little too sweet. So kind of go in between too much and too little. Okay, let me wash my hand real quick. And then we're going to roll this like a jelly roll. And like I said, this dough is fabulous right now. Okay, and tuck in your sides and just keep rolling. Then what you're going to do is get your pan, either use the Shape to Bakes, a Silpat, or non-stick cooking spray on it. Put it onto your tray, seam side down, and you're just going to put a couple of slices in the top to vent it. Now, I'm using a very sharp knife so I don't go all the way through. You're going to bake it at 350 for 30 minutes or until it's golden brown. Alright, so here's our finished apple tea ring. I have to tell you, I tasted it. It is amazing. Don't forget, make as much as you want. You can freeze them. I wrapped these in just saran wrap. These are going to the neighbors. The rest I wrapped in saran wrap and put them in Ziploc bags and put them in the freezer. And you can have them throughout the winter then, so you'll have a little bit of fall through the winter. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you do you.